Hey guys, Th3 here, welcome back to more Wargame Red Dragon. We're once again on Ranked Highway to Seoul, and I'm operating as the Baltic Moto. Now, it's going to be somewhat similar to what I have done before, trying to get as quickly to the buildings over here, and potentially the CV into Braugh. I'm going to be non-stop pushing this major over here. I'm operating as Captain NCC 1701. Starting out with Sokol, MA8T, KT, another MI8P duo with the Aracos. One going left, one going middle, and one going far right eventually. Now let's speed ahead. Actually, let's put this on neutral. I think that might be interesting. Let's see what he starts with. Because he is operating as a, what was it, South Korea or Dragons? Dragons. He's a Blue Dragons deck. He starts out with a Ninja, Command Infantry of course, and a whole bunch of vehicles in the form of the Fiat 6616 and the KM900s. He's going to drop off. No, he's not going to drop off. He's going to try and flank me with these two Fiats. KM900s with elite infantry rushing down the highway, interestingly unprotected, and thereby presenting themselves as a target if I had sent a helicopter this way. Now we have a little skirmish over here with an OH-1 Ninja and my Sokol. Both die at the same time. But I am, nonetheless, capable of getting the positions that I want. The MI8 is over there dropping off the Araco, and the other Araco is trying to get the forces dropped off, but I can spot the entire column here. Props to the Salamandra for providing me with that information. Now there is this it? Yep, that's the closed arrow. And that is basically a truck with a couple of stingers. So that's not really what I want to see. Ideally, I would get those guys out of the way quickly, because once they're out of the way, the entirety of the force, well, maybe with the exception of the 66 over here, is unable to do anything about my attack with helicopters. Of course, which I still have a few of. For some reason, and I think it's mismanagement, he sent his UH-1 with the command infantry too far. Oh, and in the meanwhile, I'm working over a couple of infantry units over there. That was his elite infantry, and there are no survivors. So he has nothing on that side of the highway, and the entire encounter takes place here. And at this point, I think I have wiped out most of his forces. I have an Araco over there. I have my forces down in the middle, which is the combination of the ATGM, Araco, and T-55 Recon. Closed arrow is still trying to get rid of several of my helicopters, but these things have somewhat limited range at 2450. We got a couple of infantry units behind there in the form of one Hudaren and one Chekyonsa. A couple of KAFV-90s. These things are no joke. They got quite a nice amount of damage that they can do, but they're only stationary. They do not fire on the move. I have an ATGM over there, which is trying to get rid of, well, basically whatever I can see. And considering that he has nothing here, I'm considering making a go for his spawn here. So that's my CV spawning in. The closed arrow did take a hit from the Mi-17, but did not die. So I need to do better with that. And it's already back on its feet, so to speak, trying to get more damage in. I'm trying to get more information with the Araco, dashing forward to the building there, and he finally drops off his command infantry over here. So, out of his original starting units, this is the only group that survived, but he has been taking points for quite a while and should be able to buy more units. He buys a reconnaissance infantry unit there, and we still, by the way, have those Fiats all the way on the far flank. A couple of charioteers dashing forward. This is my assault on his base, on his Bravo base. Charioteers taking some damage from the Hudaren, but the Huda are mostly being withdrawn. So it's the Hudaren against my charioteers and my XA-185 KTs, dashing forward as quickly as possible. I know that these things are here, the KAFV-90s. I have the Araco spotting them, I have the Salamandra trying to provide me with information. So I know that they're there, but currently they cannot really do that much because I'm sort of in the shade or behind this forest, and thereby they're not going to be that useful. This was not great. The XA-185 KT dashing into the forest, trying to make, well, some sort of cover between itself and the KAFV-90s. And at this point, the KAFVs are duking it out with the charioteers. I know that I killed his anti-air, and he is still spawning in a new one. So I also have the Salamandra to provide some additional rocket pod support. And I take out another reconnaissance unit, and now he's essentially blind. He doesn't have anything. He does, however, have 2 more KAFV-90s, with which you can probably spot my charioteers and my salamandra and some of the infantry that I still have. Also, Mi-17 with command infantry. Arriving mostly uncontested, but I don't know where his command infantry is. So I'm trying to scout out over the usual spots, which is the trail line over there, and I almost flew over it, but not quite, sadly. So the Hawk doesn't really get a target for me until it's too late, and it doesn't actually drop. KAFV-90s and the Kyotoku WAPCs with Hudauren. Still trying to get rid of all the charioteers and whatever else I have mustered up here. And since he can't quite do anything about it, I'm just walking ACV into this sector to at least neutralize it. Because then supply lines are, well, temporarily fractured over here. They're not necessarily broken, because his supply line from Alpha is better. But it's going to give me a bit more time to get even more forces here. Another Mi-17, this is the one that dropped off the command infantry, trying to provide support against the guys over here. The Mi-8 flew over the command infantry and was able to spot them. But my aircraft, my Hawk, was already out. At this point, he starts responding with bombing runs. F4 EJ Kai with 8 340kg bombs, dropping on what he suspects is the location of the CV, and that is accurate. That is where my CV was. So, as I saw that bombing run come in, I was able to move the CV, but I was not able to secure it against a couple of very pissed off Kyotoku WAPCs with grenade launchers. This was just silly, trying to get another unit to move up to try and fight out whatever I could find. Of course, that didn't work. Kyotoku and the KAV take it out very easily. At this point, the Salamandra is taking some fire and does damage from the short arrow, but it is unable to kill it. Now, I still have some more transports in the form of the XA-180s, and I thought, you know what, if he has all his stuff here, he might not have anything here. So we're just going to go on a merry trip and head over to his base. There's the F4 EG Kai again, and this time around it's going to try and bomb out my building with the Erico. Again, I saw this bombing run coming, so the moment that it arrives, I shift the guys out of the building. The Mi-8 is going to get some bad news, but by some miracle actually doesn't get hit. And because of that, well, I was able to keep the infantry alive and the Mi-8. At this point, though, I have some attention. The Fiats have finally arrived after traversing basically the entire map. This is why you have base defense. This is not necessarily going to kill it, but it'll at least stop it long enough for me to buy an attack helicopter and a couple of charioteers, which are more than sufficient to deal with the Fiats. There's the ZSU, once again engaging the Fiats, the Mi-8 engaging autocannons and rocket pods, and the assault is eliminated. At this point, I have my Yekiri. The KTs I used to do a bit of a dash here, take out another anti-air unit. So again, he is out of anti-air units. And with that, I'm once again able to use my aerial units a bit more freely. Although, they are far and few between, because I have one Mi-8 over there. That's the extent of the helicopters that I have. He buys more reconnaissance for here and there, and it arrives at a pretty inopportune time, because I just arrived in his spawn with the XA-180s. The CV has been doing some damage and fired and killed at and killed one of my XA-180s, and of course the reinforcements immediately wipe it out. At this point, Yekiri are trying to get up there. Not a great idea against Kyotokus, but I think, you know what, I'm just going to play it a little slower, because at the moment I don't really have a good way in here. So I'm just going to reinforce here with Raskasin Korima. Yekiri have met their match in the form of the Kyos, and once again, airstrikes intensify. This time around, however, it's not the F4, it's an F1. So he is buying more planes, which for me is a very, very good development. There goes the Kai again. It's a very good development because they're far easier to kill. I have Erico covering a good lot of ground, and they constantly try to deal a bit of damage. This bombing run, however, does damage my Erico, but I already have a resupply truck there, which was mostly there to resupply the Igla. Not necessarily heal up the guys, but hey, it works. I even forget that I have a couple of XA-185KTs over there, but we're going to see about those later. He knows about my guys over here, and this line-ish that I have over here, Spado, Erico, Scott, and MI8, is essentially forming a picket line so that I can eventually cap both Charlie and Gulf, should I feel the need to do so. At this point, Huda Ren and their assistance from Musti has been greatly appreciated because the Kyorokus are gone, but the F1 is not, and wipes out all but one of the Daskassin, and of course all of their transports. At this point, I finally remember, oh right, I got XA-185KTs. Now sadly, he has those KEFV-90s, and he is not aware of my vehicles. I was planning to just use the highway and dash right into his base, because that would have worked. There's no defense there. But not if you have two KAFV-90s staring you down. So now he can see me, probably with the KM900 over there. And now he's aware of this potential problem that is arising. And there you go, both KTs die, and on top of that, the infantry dies with it. Here comes the F1 again. At this point, he's also bringing some forces here. The F1 takes a hit from the Erico, and this, again, reduces the amount of airstrikes that he can do. There's another 2 airstrikes coming in. 2 Kais coming in with 340 kilogram bombs. I see them coming. I think, yeah, that's not going to happen, because he's just trying to backtrace the firing position from the Erico. Erico are fast on their feet, 30 kilometers in a run, and they need that, otherwise there would not have been there anymore. So again, the Ericos survive. At this point, I'm at a +2. I have captured Echo, I have captured Delta, and I have a Scott 2 working to secure a small outcropping here in Gulf. I'm not too eager to push. I don't feel like I need to push. I just need to CV up and either tick up to 500 or break his will to fight, whichever happens first. Another anti-helicopter unit comes in, the Closed Arrow. I bring my T-55 up, which I had all the way back there. You can still see that I have the HGM, which I forgot about. Over here we have the Erico, still holding. The resupply, unfortunately, is empty. But the guys have been healed up, got all the ammo that they need, and are ready for another fight. At this point, Scott has arrived, Spado got dropped off. I bring forward another Erico, because they keep getting airstrikes in on my Erico, or trying to. And with that, I am able to shoot more and more of those birds down, or at least that's the plan. And yes, he buys yet another plane. A Peace Pheasant 2. Under what's either another bombing run or escort from the F4 EGs. And this is the target. Z-55 reconnaissance tank, because it has been doing quite a lot of damage. First couple of missiles missed the target, the second one hit the target. But at this point I was kind of wise to his tricks, and a ROM is working over the Peace Pheasant as much as it can. Sadly, it escapes. Now he does a random bombing run, trying to find CV positions either there or there, but pays for it with the price of one of the jets. The ROM at this point only has 2 missiles left, the Erico here 1 missile. They're not going to be doing very much work for long. And now I get a third CV in Gulf, and that is a +3. And with that, I very quickly dissuade this guy to continue the fight. Now he does seem to try and continue for a little while. He pushes at the Erico here, which at this point isn't that important really. He's already lost a lot of stuff, and there we go. And with that, I have killed 600 points more than he has killed. So that was a match against Captain Leduc, who is ironically a major. I hit next battle, I hit battle ranked, and I came up against the same guy. And here we are, same guy, Captain Leduc, this time around on Punch Bowl. The plan this time around is to go for Bravo, get the buildings here, put an HEGM here, put an HEGM there, secure everything in the middle of the map, and ideally walk right into Charlie and block off his 2-pointer. And thereby, since you have a sort of a line from here to there, Delta is completely unreachable. A little defensive force in the form of 2 Musties and 1 Erico is going to defend Foxtrot. The opener, largely quite aggressive motorized stuff, XA-180s with recon, so that's the Erico again, 2 spikes, Ito 90 to deal with any helicopters, Salamandra to spot everything in the Mi-17 to deal rocket pod damage and drop off the HEGM unit if I so need it. Now, he opens up with seemingly the same deck. It's once again the Blue Dragons, but this time around I'm seeing the Hachikyu Shiki, which is an autocannon, well, pretty capable autocannon wielding IFV, 4 frontal armor, and they drop off over here with a couple of Shouju Buntai. At this point, I think I see what he is doing. Yeah, I see his column. And I had saved up some points with which I buy an aircraft. It's the MiG-17. And immediately I spot his aircraft as well. It's the same guy, and he's doing essentially the same thing. He's relying on planes. For my taste, a bit too much. So I drop off my stuff here, I immediately start taking out anti-air units, such as the closed arrow, and with that his air defense is gone. He has nothing left. No air defense. In the meanwhile, my Ito and Ericos are working over the aircraft, the F1. And there is the MiG-21, dealing a lot of stunning damage, not killing damage necessarily, but stunning damage to the Huda Ren, which then allows my guys to get into a better position. Because due to mismicro, I still have Ranico over there, I got Erico standing out in the open. Stuff like this is fairly unacceptable and cannot be allowed to proceed. Since I didn't expect to need the KTs here, I just decided to keep moving right into Charlie. And my 17 is also helping to kill the Fiat 66 over there, although I cannot see it yet. The rocket pod plane, already reloaded, takes another swing at the UDT Seal and Huda Ren and whatever other transports they had. And with that, again, largely his opener is crippled, except for the left. On the left he has Huda Ren, 2 stacks of that, and 1 Chukyon Sa. Raskasin Korima working over a vehicle there. These guys are basically going to shoot at each other with recoilless rifles. At this point I have Charlie, but some units passed through. Kuyoroku WAPC, closed arrow coming in, there's the Chokyon Sa, and I'm essentially sacrificing the Mi-8P just to see what I can get away with. And hey, there are actually units over there. So I cannot just walk in with all sorts of stuff as I would like it. He also has a Nanayon Shiki G over here, as well as a KAFV-90, a Fiat 66 over there. And he can see the Musties. The Musties are in fact getting shot at by the Fiat. Once again, he relies on a plane. And at this point, he has a bit of contact, as my Musties are engaging the Huda Ren. Ranico are not yet, believe it or not, not yet in contact with UDT Seals. And he ends up actually bombing nothing, because I'm not in that building. And now the Ranico can clear up the survivors from his opener. Over on the right, we have the Hachukyu Shikis, which have dropped off, I don't know, the Shoju, maybe? I take another rocket pod swing at them and stun them. I have the Yekiri over there, but their autocannon is a bit further away to try and provide further support, which proves useful, as the Kyorokus, which have dropped off the infantry here, come back. At this point, sadly, my 185 KT dies, but at the expense of another Hachikyu Shiki. So I have very, very little over here, but he only has 2 units, and he knows where I am, he just doesn't really have anything to do about it. Or so you think, because he tends to rely on planes. And there comes another plane. So he's going to try and bomb the Yekiri, which means that I need to be on my merry way out of here. But I'm also coming under fire from the autocannon, and the Yekiri get bombed into oblivion. There's only 2 of them left. He keeps moving with the Kinsam closed arrow, because he probably doesn't know about my guy over here. And despite 81% accuracy, the HEGM misses. So I need to get another shot, and this time around I miss again. 81%. Not great luck, but hey-ho. And he knows that there is more stuff over there because he put a marker. And the 3rd time we finally get the closed arrow. So again, his air defense is gone. This allows me to get even more rocket pod strikes in. I got a couple of Scott 2 in case he's trying to make a break through the forest. I've also been buying some ZSU 57-2s for base defense. And I'm very slowly dismantling his reconnaissance network. essentially this guy, because I know that he had that Fiat over there and I really needed it gone. So the Salamandra takes a couple of shots at it. Missiles, unfortunately, out, so we're down to rocket pods. And that is not enough. The unit survives. But not against the MiG-21. The F1 happened to be in the right place at the right time. In the form of trying to potentially intercept the MiG-21. Although I think it was trying to bomb whatever infantry I had left there. And he evacs that. But another Kai takes its place. And he's now going to make a run at this, because he knows where it is. He's already marked it for himself. I still have Erico here. I have Erico here. I have my ROM, which I've deployed here as well. The Ito slightly further back, so I have options. The Kai takes a swing at the HGM. Fortunately, the other Ericos survive. But again, he's relying so much on planes that he has very, very little on the ground. And that is going to prove to be a problem. Because here again, more aircraft. F1 drops. But I can very quickly be on my way out of a building. So the Ranico barely take a hit. And he then bombs... nothing? I don't know. Maybe I had the Erico there a moment ago, but not anymore. I'm constantly trying to keep them away. Since his air defense is non-existent, I decided to start flying a fighter of my own around. At this point I want to lock down the area of Bravo, I want to lock down the middle, so I'm taking the Raskasin Kurima and their Musi transports to take a look at whatever is in here. I didn't know that he offloaded infantry here. But I have my 2 MiGs standing by. So in case he tries something, or in case they need fire support, they have it in the form of the MiGs. And here comes another one, MiG-21MF. I have an attack marker here as I know that there is yet another short arrow coming in. I'm not sure why he keeps insisting on short arrows and closed arrow systems there. Because they're really not that important over there. I'm not even operating in a helicopter or a plane whatsoever. I had to wait for the Moosties and the XA-180s to actually make it past here. And you can see this guy got a little damage, but not too bad. And that was from the damage that the Fiat 6616 did. But he must have been distracted. Because he did not notice that these two were going to make their way into his base. I'm not sure if he knows... Yeah, now he knows. So he spawns in a triple stack of KAF-V90. So that's essentially another 90 points that he's wasting / spending to get rid of this incursion here. I'm still working over the infantry over there. Again, I don't really need to make any great haste because I have captured Delta. I have a +2. Once again, bombing run, F4EG. This time around, the MiG is on station and shoots it down. But the damage has been done. The Raskasin Kurima are dead. I think mostly due to the support from the Ninani Yon over there. And the Erico fortunately survive. Now, the transports here find the CV. It's an infantry CV. And just in the nick of time, he buys a new command infantry. This could have ended the game right here. But just in the nick of time, he buys a command infantry. So now I have the Musti, I have his FOB, I have another MiG-21MF on station, I just need to get a target. Unfortunately, the KAF-V90s can spawn and can find me before I can find them. Now I have a +3, since he doesn't have a spawn, he needs to try and get his command infantry into the sector. He's being quite careful about that, because he doesn't know what sort of air defense I have over here. And this is where, ideally, I would just drive in with a couple of KTs. But there is still the problem of those KAF-V90s. The infantry gets wiped out in a combined strike with more MiG-21MFs. I'm flying a Syria around as I had brief vision on the Nanion Shikiji. I'm trying to get the Salamandra to spot the command infantry. But I end up finding another KAF-V90 which gets knocked out in a tandem of spotting by the Salamandra and killing by the HGM over there. Syria at this point does what it's not really supposed to do in the form of killing the helicopter that dropped off the command infantry. And he still has these forces here. He's just not using them. I still have an XA-185 KT that I should have used more. MiG-29-913 fights against a KF-16 and survives-ish. Yeah, it survives. Both jets have been damaged, however, and will need some time to repair. The Salamandra is spotting the KAF-V90s and does another run, or I do another run with the MiG-21MF, dealing some damage but not killing them. This is when the ninja comes in. I'm trying to run away with the Salamander, but of course the ninja is not having that. He fires 2 missiles, misses, but hits with the third. And the third is enough to kill it. At this point, I'm just trying to contain him to his base. I thought, you know what, you might have some stuff over there, that's fine. You might have some stuff over here, that's fine. But overall, you're not really going to be doing anything useful if I just shut everything down here. And on top of that, I can still buy a CV for the middle. I can potentially secure Foxtrot. I have options. Th3 are being detected, and sadly, quickly wipe out one of my KTs. Now, you know who we're calling in a situation like that. It's the MiG-21MF. So, Th3 have been detected, and Th3 have been undetected, as they're all dead. Chukyeon-sa and a Fiat 66 survive, and this is a problem for the Yekiri, which just get nailed as they are trying to get into the building. But without fire support and getting under murderous fire from an autocannon, they die very quickly. Now, since this guy is so happy about using his airplanes all the time, I decided to bring a bit more air defense into position. So I have an Ito there. I'm going to relocate the ROM to get there as well. No, I don't have a new ROM in position yet. I do a bombing run with the Hawk. He spots it, or at least reacts to it, and none of the Chukyeon-sa get hit. Now, the T-55 here is starting to wipe out some more of the KEFV-90s, but this is recon versus recon, so my tank is no longer as undetected / stealthy as it normally would be. Nevertheless, these things don't have the armor that the T-55 does. And at this point, more Th3 have been positioned in the building. And on top of that, I got more problems as a Peace Pheasant takes out my tank. So immediately the Ito responds. Peace Pheasant gets the shot, gets the kill, but dies. That was a pretty expensive kill. Sadly, as I was walking the Ranico away, I did not have a target for the MiG-21s. Should have just attacked ground on these buildings here and wiped them out. But hey-ho, this is gonna come back some other time. My Ito is in position. I need a bit more killing power, although it proved to be successful. So I'm dropping off another Airco. And we have another aircraft coming in. The F4EG Kai. Again, this guy is relying on planes way too much. And sadly, the Ranico, which I should have split and sent in 2 different directions, are providing a very nice target. The F4EG comes in and gets killed off by the Ito, which makes itself veteran. Here comes the F1 again, or yet another F1. The Ito gets the kill, but dies. So that's one Ito that died, but it killed 3 different aircraft. That's easily 300 points for an 80, what is it, 85%, 85 point NTR unit. It's not terribly expensive. It's made it value back quite a lot at any rate. Got a ninja over there and over here. He's trying to get information, but I'm not exactly sure for what. I mean, information is always good to have. But what are you going to do with it if you can't really respond? He's just trying to hold up in his base at this point. And I have a +2, and I'm working on some more reinforcements to shut down his front line even more. Now I know the Fiat's over there, so I'm trying to get the Salamander to take it out. The Salamander does take it out, but sadly, I was not counting on the presence of another ninja. And that's going to cost me another Salamander. Which is unfortunate, but I have more Salamandras, I think, than he has ninjas. Now this is going to be potentially problematic. I don't think I even caught this, but I think he knows exactly where the ROM is. Then Anion Shiki takes aim, takes a shot, no more ROM. Because I was trying to bring another ROM in position here to shut down even more aircraft. On the right, absolutely no action. The XA-185KT and the Yekiri are now in position to screen against any random offensives that he might do. And I'm trying to get more units in here. XA-185KT and a CV. If I can get that in here, I can get a +4. And again, I'm trying to break his will to fight. Ranico are now getting pushed by the Th3. Who are you going to call? MiG-21. So once again, the 2 MiG-21s come in. The Th3, lacking any kind of support, immediately get taken under fire and disappear. The second MiG-21 thereby, I think, gets killed or doesn't have a target. I'm not sure. At any rate, no more Th3. And suddenly the battlefield is much evened up, as it's now Chukyeon-sa against Ranico, but I have cover, they do not. And I also have Eriko in there. So he essentially pushed forward, into this position, which I'm not exactly sure why. He wouldn't really gain anything from it if he conquered it, except for killing off the NTR that I have over here. Well, had over there. The ROM is now in position, but it's going to take a little while to take effect. I'd say holding the Huda Ren in his base would have been more favorable, because if I wipe these guys out, I can just walk right in. So he played a pretty dangerous game there. Speaking of walking them in, I'm trying to get the Rascassin Kurima also forward. The MiG-21 once again wipes out a group of infantry, and I think the F-16 that he was using is still too heavily damaged to prove useful. I'm flying around with another MiG-29, and this time around I'm starting to meet my match, as a Block 52D comes in. An elite one at that. I am timely with turning off the ROM, so the seed aircraft does not detect the ROM. And the ROM is able to survive, take out another helicopter with Block. Sadly, takes out my fighter. At this point he keeps pushing. Sort of. Jokyeon Sa get killed off by the Airco. KAFV gets killed off by the Airco. The truck gets killed off by the Airco. These things are so incredibly good. At this point I should have blocked off the area here with the Rascassin, so next time around I need to be a bit more aggressive with those guys. But from here, they can essentially shoot any vehicle that comes out of his base. At this point, I have been able to get my infantry up the ramp. I'm not using this road where the Chokyeon Sa were, I'm not using that road where the Kyoroku WAPC was. I went up this one, because it has more concealment for me. So I got the Yekiri in position and the KT. I got the Yekiri and the KT over there. He's going to try and push back with the KM900. It's a Browning versus an autocannon. Not really going to be a fair fight. But then again, if you're fighting fair, something has not gone according to plan. And he surrenders, as I apparently broke his will to fight again. So that was a very good battle, at least for my taste. NCC 7101. Sorry, 1701. Quite successful enterprise, I would say. And I hope you guys enjoyed these quick matches. Once again, a huge shout out to Blitzwar. Linked down below in the description is his channel. Without his training and support, I never could have done as nearly as well as I did. So Blitzwar, thank you very much for your assistance. He wasn't with me in this match, but I tried to play according to how he would probably want me to play. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon for more videos.